Oh my goodness. Good morning. We have the coffee. We are now ready. I chose this morning to get coffee instead of take a shower to wake up, and I think this might be the right play. I don't know. I'm really not sure. Drivers are currently on the grid. Just less than 8 minutes to go until race start. Good morning, Formula One fans, and welcome back to another live watch along of Formula One race. And this is the 2023 Japanese Grand Prix. Uh, this has got to be one of my favorite races on the calendar. When we lost this race during COVID, I was distraught to say the least. It was terrible, but I guess there were more important things happening in the world. But we're back. It's hands down one of the best racing circuits in the entire world. Um, we've got some interesting developments overnight. We have Logan Sargent has changed some components on his car, so he'll start from the back. But to add insult to injury, he has also incurred a 10-second penalty before the race has even started. And there's a little bit of an interesting rule about that. So when you have a spare car or spare chassis at the racing circuit, you are not allowed to have more than a certain number of components built onto this thing. But it appears that Williams have had their spare chassis prepared slightly more than a certain level, which constitutes what the FIA declare a third car, which is a little bit of an odd one considering, like, I don't know the exact level they had the car built to in terms of components, but with the curfews and the limit of time that you're going to be there, it seems like there's one of those things that maybe you could save a little bit of time and stress on the engineers and let them have a car built a little bit more than you would have had it built 10 years ago when you didn't have curfews that were, that ensured everybody got 8 hours of sleep, because it used to be the case where way back in the day, not too long before I started in 2010, there was no curfews, and if something goes wrong, you just work through the night and you rock up the next day and you're completely screwed, right? But now, it's something a little bit different than that. So I don't know. Is my oh dudes and dudettes, my multi-viewer is in big trouble. It will not load. I need to restart this computer, so I might lose audio for a second. But my multi-viewer players will not play. UTA Racing? Do we have some people from University of Texas at Arlington Racing in the chat? Welcome. How you doing, man? And also, good morning to everybody. I've seen Japan. I've seen all over the USA. I've seen Australia. Somebody's in Japan. Where's everybody else from? Good morning. The time in the UK is 5 to 6 a.m. in the morning. Philip, what's going on, dude? The Constant Skies are funny to watch on ESPN. I'm surprised that ESPN don't have their own bespoke, how'd you say, broadcast package and stuff, like with the whole thing. And I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it than that. I don't understand it. ESPN seems like kind of a big deal, though. You guys are in the UTA Racing Lab. Kaylee, hello, good morning. And if anybody's wondering what UTA Racing is University of Texas at Arlington. That's where I went to my undergraduate, and that's where I spent a lot of time on the Formula Student team, or Formula SAE in the US, Formula Student in the UK and Europe. But it's basically a collegiate design build race competition that has space for everybody from engineering, marketing, design, software. A great program that offers young people an opportunity to get involved and exposure to the world of motorsport from a very interesting point of view, because you are literally taking raw pieces of material, building a race car after you've designed it yourself, which is awesome. But yeah, I'm struggling right now to get multiviewer to work. I thought I have everything working, but it was being, yeah, a bit of a problem. So give me 1 second, guys, and I'll be right back with you. I'm just a little bit distracted trying to get this rolling. All right, I think we're good. I think we're better. We're back. We're back. We are back. But yeah, so UTA Racing is honestly the organization, the point in my life which is entirely responsible for me wanting to pursue Formula One as a career. So if you guys are here from UTA Racing in the lab, welcome. And I'm also hopefully going to try to come say hello over Christmas. And if any of you guys are going to be in Austin, do reach out over Instagram or the Discord. Yeah. And Toast on Toast says, yes, we did miss an episode of the Engine Breaking podcast last week. Dan was going to do it while I was out of town. But, yeah, unfortunately missed it. So, starting grid. Obviously, Verstappen on pole by a huge margin. Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell, Tsunoda, and Fernando in the top 10. Lawson just outside of the top 10. I'm so impressed with that dude. I'm so happy for him as well. Gasly, Albon, Ocon, Magnussen, Bottas, Stroll, Hulkenberg, and Zhou on the back. The Alfa Romeo this season, I mean, I think Bottas and Zhou are decent drivers, but I do not think that car is up to the task. I don't know if there are issues or they just don't have cash. But yeah, it's a bit of a struggle to be driving an Alfa Romeo, and hopefully when Audi come around in a couple years, they're going to change that. Nathan asks about strategy. Great question. It looks like, I'm surprised. I did not expect to see that many people on the soft. There are some people on the soft. Tsunoda, Alonso, Bottas, Stroll, Hulkenberg, and Zhou are on the soft. Everybody else on a medium. I think the best strategy here is a mixed medium and hard strategy. I believe who has one of the teams has two mediums at the front and one of the teams has two hards at the front. So I've got the tire allocation up. Verstappen has 3 hards, Perez 2 hards, Leclerc 2 hards, and Sainz 2 hards, and they all have 1 medium. However, Russell, Hamilton, Ocon, Gasly, Norris, and Piastri have 2 mediums. So I think unless something happens, 2 stop. And whether or not the medium or hard are preferred, or maybe there's really not anything in between these 2 tires. So 30 seconds is the famous line. If anybody's wondering where the hell that came from, listen to the Drive to Survive Season 1 trailer and tell me if you recognize anybody in that. Yeah, Tsunoda and Lawson starting on the soft. The only thing you know what? I'm not even going to BS you guys. I don't understand that one. I'm not quite sure. I'm not familiar with their game. I think starting on the soft is a risk. I think the degradation is also going to be quite high on the soft. So I don't really feel like that is necessarily the play. But clearly, I think these guys are awesome, and they know more than I do. Looking for a good launch and an undercut, soft, hard, hard. It's possible. So Alfa Romeo's tire, or Alpha Tauri's tire education right now. Okay. Well, that explains it. Lawson and Tsunoda have a medium hard, and only Lawson has a new soft. So I'm assuming Lawson on a new soft? He is. Tsunoda on a used soft. Multi-viewer is fine. I just had to restart a couple times, and it was an issue. Can you skip the mediums, hards, and softs only? Considering the level of degradation, and everybody's soft has about 3 laps on it. Overlay? Yeah, let's get the overlay up. Good comms. Just sorting out right now. Boom. Right. We're here. We're live. All the cars are lining up on the starting line on the grid for the 2023 Japanese Grand Prix. We're looking at Zach Brown's face right now, and we're going straight over to the McLaren. They're lining up 2 and 3 on the grid. Look at this. A lot of people are super slow on the formation lap. So, I mean, Verstappen's literally almost in his grid box, and Zhou is still not even through the chicane. So, yeah, pretty interesting. It's interesting if you're using multi-view, which I highly recommend watching. You should definitely check out the AI radio transcriptions, because you can see a lot of the interesting conversations that the engineers are having. And I think one day what we'll do is we'll go through all of these formation laps and talk about the kind of things they're probably talking about, because some of the stuff is not so clear. We've got all the cars on the grid. The safety car is along the back, the medical car. The green flag person is walking across. He's waved the flag. Sergeant is in the pit lane going down to the end of the pit lane. We got 5 lights and they're out. How's the launch from everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, Piastri could start. Piastri almost touched some glass, and there's a lot of front wing damage in the back. Somebody's had a boo-boo in the background. Norris gets P2. Perez drops 2. Hamilton and Russell down 1. Ocon's had a shunt or something. Ocon's down 4. Hulkenberg and Stroll up 4. Chaos. Alonso up 4 as well. Alonso's up in P6 already. Let's go. Esteban puncture confirmed. Zhou probably front wing as well. Oh my god, what's going on? Alpha Tauri. No, be careful. Be careful. Watch your nose. Ooh, Tsunoda's like, please. Yeah, Zhou has damage. Dana, good morning. Good to see you. Safety car out. Safety car out. There's some serious doo-doo on the track. The Alpha Tauris, yeah. There is so much shit all over the... Why does the safety car parking online... Oh, I guess the safety car's parking offline, and they'll follow him, and the safety car's spotted the debris, and he will guide them around it. Not entirely sure that Hamilton's got any damage, but from what you guys have said, it sounds like maybe Perez has booped him. So since I've got multi-viewer live, I am going to change my viewer to Perez and go watch the race start again, because literally I'm now the TV director. Miguel, good morning, bro. All right, I'm on board. Perez got squeezed. I've gone back to look at that. Perez basically gets squeezed between Hamilton and the Ferrari. I don't think there's anything wild there. Perez goes into Lewis Hamilton, says Crofty. Okay. It didn't intimidate Sainz enough, Uncle Elias. Love you for that. All right, so there's Perez. The McLaren's got a great launch. Max, not so much. Carlos Sainz. All right, so Carlos threads the needle barely. Oh, that was super tight from Carlos. Good play. Yeah. Yeah, I think he basically, Perez is like, I don't want to get hit by Perez. Yeah, there was not enough room for 3 cars there. Albon got whacked as well. Oofed. Yeah. That was just a bit of shenaniganry. We basically had the exact same thing. Oh my god. Albon, airborne. Like lots of... Nothing wild there. Nothing wild. I don't think there's any penalties. I mean, racing incidents sounds even extreme. Piastri backs out. Lando's alongside Max at the race restart, but he's like, maybe not. Perez coming for a front wing change. Yeah, Perez missing the entire right side end plate of that. Just some incidents, I think. Yeah, it's just an incident. Paris there's no way. Paris almost drive through all the debris. And they need to check where was he at the safety car line when he came out. Grim, the trip to Glacier National Park was stunning, bro. One of the most beautiful places I've seen. Hamilton minor damage. Yeah, I think for Hamilton it looked like just wheel on wheel. So hopefully no damage to that. Bono telling Lewis dive plane damage, so should be alright. It should be alright. But you know how sensitive these cars are. Any damage at all, and you will lose something. Let's do a quick summary of where we're at in terms of the standings at the race start. Piastri and Norris have swapped. Sainz has gone up a position. Alonso up 4. Huge W's for Alonso, the Dark Lord himself. Lawson up 2, Tsunoda down 1. Stroll. Last year was really good at race starts. This year, a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah. Stroll Hulkenberg up 6. Zhou up 3. Albon down 4 from the shunt. Perez has obviously had to stop, so he's down 13. Bottas down 4. Slow nose change for the... It's interesting it took him so long to get the nose out. It's not like they didn't know about it. Unless... Oh! They don't have a side jack? Maybe they did have a double stop. No, Zhou's up. Hard to say. Zhou did stop as well. I don't know if they stacked it, but I don't know if they have so there's, if your nose is broken, you can't use the front jack because the front jack goes under the front wing main plane. But most teams will have what's called a side jack, so it goes under the middle of the car and you crank it up. Interesting. Has turn one always been flat for since I've been around? Usually in qualifying it's flat. Race start, high fuel, maybe not. What did Perez do on the safety car? Because he hauled ass out of the pit lane. Yeah. I don't know if it's that. I think it's because he hauled ass out of the pit lane. I'll wait for somebody that knows what they're talking about to clarify, because I really am not sure. Safety car in this lap. Verstappen was mad through the entire lap in qualifying, especially Spoon turn 8 and the S's. Explain about Williams' penalty. I don't know of any Williams' penalty. Can someone clarify? So it looks like Perez, the broadcast say it's for overtaking Albon, but he gave the spot back. Williams. Yeah, sorry. The Williams chassis penalty was basically they had the car prepared more than just a bare survival cell. And so that was deemed a third car. So they had the car in a further state of preparation for a spare chassis. So race restart. I think Max is going to thread the needle through the chicane and then zoom it after the exit of the chicane. And yeah, happy days. Max is going as he gets into the chicane, get the most field spread, easy. I'm currently on board with the main feed of Verstappen's rear view and Piastri, I believe. That's what I'm watching right now. Prathamesh says, hey, expecting some more technical information from you rather than commentary. Let me technically explain to you what's happening under a safety car. I'm being sarcastic. Anyway, back to the race. So anybody that's come in already? All right, so we've had several people. Bottas and Zhou both pit for new softs, so they like the soft tire for the race start, which I still think it's medium hard to stop territory. Soft. Is it going to be any good? Oh my god. Can they just retire the Alphas this weekend? Was that turn 11? Can Alonso get a podium? America's Choice, considering their low fuel pace this weekend and what I've seen, I don't expect their high fuel pace to be any better. Oh, Russell on the inside of Hamilton into the chicane. Oh, they're side by side. Please don't touch those curbs. Oh my god. Dude, let's go. Let's go. There's actually a fair bit of debris there. Hamilton, oh, go on, lad. Intimidate him. Hamilton, strong. So here's what I'm looking at right now. We've got in the top 10, we've got the Alpha Tauris and Alonso on softs. Their best lap was the last lap, so that's the peak of this tire for the stint. They're doing a little bit of racing, so they might be held up because the field is compressed. But we basically want to look at how much pace these soft tires lose relative to the mediums in the front, and we'll see pretty quickly. We'll see pretty quickly if the soft is a reasonable gamble or not. Max is flying right now, yeah. 2-second gap. But there's... Oh! Logan absolutely sent Bottas to the Shadow Realm. This is F1. Oh, he just locks up super hard. Oh. Yeet. Oh, Logan. Yeah. Not a... The thing is Alex is doing such a killer job in that car. And if Logan was like a little bit off the pace and keeping his nose clean, it would be one thing. But he's off the pace and he's not keeping it clean, and Williams is probably a very difficult car to drive. It doesn't have a whole lot of load, and I'm sure they're struggling with development compared to some of the other cars that are fairly well sorted, but holy crap, he's having a really tough time with that, and it's not a good look. DRS is now enabled. We've got signs on Leclerc's DRS-able, Hamilton on Alonso, Russell's just outside Lawson. Most people in the top 10 are just around 1 second gap. So Perez, P17, 17 seconds off of the race lead. He's gone to the hard tire, which makes sense at this point. That will give him the ability to stay longer out than the people, certainly on the softs, and hopefully the people on the mediums around him, unless he runs into a lot of traffic and burns up his tires. But if Perez can't come through Ocon, Magnussen, Zhou, Gasly, Hulkenberg, the Alpine and the Red Bull has the top speed advantage over the Alpine this weekend for sure. Perez already... Zhou done. Alonso's last lap was still his best, so a 39-1 versus Verstappen, but that's not a massive upset considering Alonso's single lap pace was more than that off of Verstappen in qualifying. Yes, that is super push level from Max, but even if you look at relative to the McLaren, but even to be fair, the Ferraris lapping about a second slower than Max and 3/4 of a second slower than the McLarens. So that was actually my first sip of coffee this morning. It's been sat in front of me for 40 minutes. Need a little refresh. Heat it up a little bit. Do you think Perez can take the hard to the end? I don't think so. The Bottas, it's undrivable. His car is bonked. From my recollection, the difference in pace or the difference in degradation between the medium and hard was not so much. And I think overall, in terms of performance, I don't really feel like maybe the hard could have a little more life. But if I'm looking at the pace and degradation, from free practice 2, we didn't even have that much data on the hard. The only proper stints of more than 2 or 3 laps, it was Sargent and Bottas on the hard. I think Mike Caulfield, former Haas strategist, said he did not believe there to be too much between the hard and soft. And if you're not following Mike Caulfield F1 on Twitter, very, very insightful account from a F1 race strategist. So definitely check that out. Sargent, he's on. Is Sargent going to get sit out of race at some point? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. That's a really good point from Aman. I wouldn't be surprised if Piastri's kind of just like, right, I'm not going to waste my tires and harass Norris on the stint. Like, we're fairly evenly paced all weekend, right? I think a 3-second gap to the car ahead is not insane. I think Leclerc is still going to see if he can get a bit closer than that. And Sainz is also up Leclerc's ass, so Leclerc doesn't really have a choice but to push. Will we see the Ferraris have themselves over? I think they need to push up a little bit closer and try to have a look at the McLarens, but keeping in mind we're only 10 laps into this race. Perez 5-second penalty for safety car infringement. Oofed. Austin Rhodes suggests, if you're Williams, how do you not pull Sargent and try to sign Lawson as soon as possible or at the end of the year? Based on what we've seen so far, on merit between the both of them, I would suggest that is not a terrible solution. I think that's if I think it is what I think it is, it's because Perez overtook under the safety car. But here's how that works. The safety car delta does not apply in the pit lane. And it does not apply until you get to the safety car line. So he's on the track now. And there's the safety car line. That's really tough. That's really tough because he was basically racing for the safety car line to see what position he could get, because it goes by whatever position you're at the safety car line. I think that was tough. Easy. Alpine, job done. Let's catch up with what we've got on strategy. Joe is on another soft tire. Lawson out on a medium. Tsunoda out on a medium. I missed those pit stops. And we're going to have to figure out where they're at. Okay, I just realized Max Verstappen's best lap was a 36.7. But yeah, we've already talked about the deg on the soft should be very high. Alonso in the pit, by the way. So, I mean, Alonso 14 laps. So it's 12 laps on a soft. Yeah, I mean, Pirelli's pre-event expected, yeah, lap 13 to 19 for a two-stop on the soft. Yeah, I mean, two-stopper territory is lap 14 to 20 on a medium. Hamilton, according to Bernie Collins, was given the boxed overtake. So if Alonso didn't box, Hamilton would have boxed. Without proper like race gaps to see those over a time series, it's actually quite difficult to oh, what is this? Is this open lobbies? Perez not even remotely ahead. Perez just launched it up the inside of Magnussen. As soon as he sent that, he was like, I've messed that up. He had no chance. Perez is missing a front wing. Potentially, if he has a front wing, it may not be the best spec. That is terrible to see that. I mean, Perez is trying to make up space from the back, and he thought Hulkenberg will let me through. He knows I'm faster, and he's like, oh, I did oversend that a little bit. He's hating the hards. Everybody's running a hard at some point during this race. Some people track limits at turn 9. Alonso track limits at turn 9. Man, if you're going off at turn 9, that's dangerous. So Perez is serving the 5-second penalty in the pit lane now, and he's going to get another 5-second penalty, and he's got a billion-second penalty for fitting 2 front wings. At this point, looking at the front of the race, I don't know if we can tell too much about Verstappen's pace. Hold on. No. Ah. Piastri on the VSC. Oh my god. You legends. Is Piastri won out massively from this? So Piastri, 13 laps on a medium, onto a hard. So was Piastri already in the pit lane? Did Perez, the car doesn't feel right? Oh my goodness. Well, so here's an interesting thing to remember, that the virtual safety car isn't bound to a start and end of a lap. A virtual safety car can just... So what happens when the virtual safety car comes out is there's a lap time delta, and you have to slow your pace down to a certain level. So, imagine you're in the pit lane under a virtual safety car and somebody's on track. You get that advantage in terms of lap time. It doesn't matter if you're at the line or not. Did Max have his head like this going down the straight? Or is that just me? No, it's just the lighting. The car would feel better if you stopped driving it like an F1 online lobby, says Grim. Interesting. Perez retiring? It's probably a good idea. Budget Latifi, that's atrocious. Stroll in. I'm bummed. I feel bad for my friends at Red Bull for this one. Jose, I'm not sure why some of the cars did not pit under the VSC. Honestly, I gotta say, guys and gals, I'm gonna have to make a lot more sense of this after. Why is Norris nearly overtaking Max on the VSC? Or it's Perez. Was Perez going under the VSC time, possibly? Opposite McLaren for Leclerc. Neither of them pit. That message appears to be delayed. Unless that message was for this lap. But usually when they play it on the TV, it's a lap late. And neither Norris nor Leclerc have boxed this lap. Lando got held up by Perez by 5 seconds during the VSC. But to be fair, they were only 4 or 5 seconds ahead of Leclerc before the VSC, as far as I could tell. Oh, Hamilton, turn 8 a little bit. Russell's like, nom nom. Let me have a go. Yeah, the Degner 2, turn 9 is sketchy as hell. You don't want to go off there. Russell's coming into Spoon here. We're on the outside. Oh, push him off. Both you guys are off the track. Both of them off the track. That was a little bit optimistic from George. Max is in. 10 seconds ahead of Norris. Snags, I've got a bad feeling about this Merc battle. They'll be okay. That was a little bit, yeah. That wasn't full terrorist from George, but it was definitely get out my swamp territory. Hamilton in. Verstappen can't undercut from the lead. Slow Red Bull pit stop. Oofed. No Grand Slam. Yeah, he's not leading this race. Norris is leading this lap. All right, so what have we got? Verstappen's gone medium. Okay, so he's medium hard. Those are the tires that he's got. The first stint for Verstappen, 16 laps. That's all right. On board with Hamilton. A little bit of understeer at turn 9, and he ends up in the gravel. And then Russell comes and takes his lunch money. Yeah, Russell's like, are we fighting each other or not? It's like, well, he's not just going to give you the track position because he's set his wheels off. He's going to keep pushing. But it's just unfortunate that Hamilton lost position from pushing through that so much. I don't understand why Russell would complain about that. You know, Lewis Hamilton is not just letting you have it. He's like, oh, I got my tires dirty a little bit. I've lost a bit of pace. Sounds like a you problem, George. So the liquid don't remind me of that. I mean, Russell's 17 laps on a medium pace, still pretty good considering his best lap, 38.7, fastest lap, 39.1 current lap. Stroll and Hulkenberg, easy jobs. Yeah, dude, Piastri won out massively from that VSC. I Bernie with some great comms there. So Hamilton with potentially a slow stop, and Russell would have had a little bit of a gap. But now that Hamilton's on a fresher tire, um, doing his Hamilton's first sector's at 35.4. Right now, Russell's first sector's at 36.0. Signs saying I look quick, but he's boxing. He's not quick. He was in the 39s that last lap. As far as I'm aware, regarding Norris relative to Piastri, Piastri stopped under a very tiny VSC, so he gained probably at least 10 seconds. And they're 12 seconds behind, so something a little bit disadvantageous to Norris as well at some point. Sainz good stop. Sainz comes out just behind Alonso. 3 seconds behind Leclerc. No big difference between Sainz and Leclerc in terms of their stop. So Verstappen's just doing 37.4 on his last lap. Russell's over 2 seconds a lap slower. Huge deg on a 16 lap older tire. Verstappen coming straight through. Russell knows, don't lose time with Verstappen. Make it easy. Stick in the slipstream. Maybe get the DRS down the straight to turn one. See what happens. And Checo screwed Norris over for a further 5 seconds. That is correct. Leclerc. Oof. Go on, Leclerc. Yeah, Stefan, that's another great point where Norris lost his time was Perez going slowly under the VSC, so he lost even more time to Piastri. The medium's only lasting, on the average medium stint so far is probably 15, 16 laps. The degradation is just too high on them. Is it a bit odd for Max to go with 2 sets of mediums than hards? Possibly, or you might say that with lower fuel, your outright pace will be faster on the hard throughout that entire stint because you have less fuel on board, and that could do a better job of keeping that tire in the window. In terms of people already running hards, the oldest hard that we have when Max pit was Ocon. Ocon had a 15 lap old hard, so they might have learned something from Ocon, who was running it already. Other than that, Alonso with a 5 lap old hard at the point at which Verstappen pit. So if Red Bull have made, that's a good one. Have Red Bull made any strategic errors this year? If they have, I don't recall them, A. And B, if they have not been apparent considering they've got enough margin. Side by side. Oh, Sainz and Alonso side by side. Hola. I mean, Sainz is DRS on Ocon now. Russell plan B, is he trying to one-stop medium hard? Russell has done 20 laps on a medium at not great pace, and he'll have to do 30 plus laps on a hard if plan B is a one-stop. No further investigation forcing a driver off track. Did Russell not overtake him off track, or was the overtake effectively done and they were just side by side? Is Norris pushing too hard? Possibly. He's going very quickly. His fastest lap on the stint at 36.7. Piastri's fastest lap at 38.4. Piastri's cruising right now. Alonso, you've thrown me to the lions by stopping that early. Stroll retiring. Tennis? Oof. Oh my God. Go on, Hamilton. Hamilton having a lot of fun here. I love this. So Hamilton 20 seconds off the lead. What's our pit loss here, ladies and gentlemen? Normal pit loss, 22 seconds. Stroll has retired, as we discussed. I mean, Russell has a pit stop over Hamilton now. So, Hamilton having to go through that traffic, he's not made up as much time. Russell could stop and come out on top of Hamilton now, but I think Russell wants to go longer. At some point, Hamilton's going to get held up by Sainz and Leclerc, or have to race them. Russell's doing 39.5. Hamilton with traffic not that much faster, but obviously Hamilton in clean air, a 37.4 on this hard tire. So Hamilton's been told, think about rear management, 13, 11 exit, and 17. So 13 is entry to spoon, 11 hairpin, exit, and then chicane exit. Russell's plan B is looking at. But I think if Piastri gets up on Russell and you're Russell one stopping, I think you let Piastri go. So great feedback to Norris there to say, Russell, we think he's one stopping. You're fine racing Russell, except if you're pushing like a bastard, catching Piastri and then burn up your tires, fighting Piastri. I mean, we've had a lot of overtakes and we've had a lot of great wheel-to-wheel racing, but there's a lot of these overtakes down into turn one, which are cars on new versus old tires, and they're just not that exciting. But So let's keep an eye on the gap. Piastri's now half a second on Russell. Russell's best shot of making a one-stop work is actually letting Piastri through, using him as a slipstream for a bit, letting Norris through, using him as a bit, and then not losing too much time to any of the cars that he's racing. Gap. Yeah. Russell, 10 seconds to Hamilton. 13 seconds to Hamilton. The thing with Anthony saying George is always thinking on his feet, and that's true. But George is also, especially when you're not the fastest car, George is always looking for that thing. Can I do something different to everyone else? And see if that plays off. Not fully a Hail Mary, so to speak, but something different. Alonso actually flustered. Is this the turn? Russell in. So Russell's done 24 laps, and he can easily do 29 laps on this. Where's he going to come out? Just behind Hamilton. Russell to come out just behind Hamilton, I think, without race gaps. Real Alonso just joined the chat. Yes. Yep, he's just behind Hamilton. Oh, sorry. Alonso on SD. Norris saying, the longer I hang out behind Piastri, the worse this is going to be. He's basically saying, I have more pace than Piastri right now, but Piastri's been cruising this entire stint. His fastest lap is a 38.2. I'm not seeing it. Like, if Piastri wanted to go faster, he could, but McLaren's race is 2 and 3. Norris. Oh. Interesting. Very interesting. Piastri's got 4-lap older hards. Piastri's been looking after his tires the entire stint. Norris has been on the back foot. Norris has been pushing like hell, trying to catch up. So they are advocating to swap the drivers, and maybe Piastri doesn't have much more pace than that. I'm a little bit confused. Let's see what happens, because if Piastri's got issues and he's struggling with pace, I mean, Piastri's fastest lap was a second and a half slower than Norris this stint. And yes, Norris was trying to make up for lost time, but Elias Perez has retired from... He broke 2 front wings. He had about 15 seconds of penalties. Interesting. Let's see what happens. Why is Perez getting back in the car? I mean, interesting. Verstappen. Albon retires. No, dude. Dude, double DNF. I remember Malaysia 2013, I think it was. Di Resta and Sotil retired. And that was not fun. Mm. Well, I didn't realize Lawson dead last. Tsunoda P10. Tsunoda, he's just stopped. Is Perez literally going out just to do his penalty? What's with Piastri? Well, Norris has now opened the gap to him. Norris is doing a 37.4. Piastri doing a 39.7. Maybe some issues with the car? I don't know. Yeah, Lawson's not dead last. He's just pit. That's really, really strange to me that Piastri's on the struggle bus that much. It's 2 a.m. at the moment, and I can't brain what's happening. I'm not sure. Everybody's retired. Everybody's collided. Russell's trying to do a 1-stop. And Russell's like, tell me what pace I need to hit. I really don't know what Red Bull's doing. Yeah, possibly he's just serving his penalty. Ferrari, not particularly impressive. Mercedes, also not particularly impressive. If Russell can pull this off, I can't really see where this is going with the data I have available, but they think Russell's race is viable. I guess Piastri's struggling a little bit on pace relative to Norris, but it looks like Norris just beasted it. But for whatever reason, Piastri was not able to respond with it. Well, let's put it this way. I don't think the McLarens are one-stopping to do... I don't think the McLarens are one-stopping. I think they're going medium, hard, hard. Russell is trying to do a medium, hard, one-stop. A pit loss is 20 seconds? 24 seconds? 22 seconds, sorry. Right now, Piastri pits. He comes out 6 seconds behind Russell. Russell is currently doing a 37.6, similar pace to Norris. Then Norris will have a fresh tire. I think Russell's racing the McLarens right now. At McLaren's tires that they have available, they have 2 hards and 1 medium available. So McLaren's next tire has to be a hard. It's not going to be a soft unless they go super long. And they're like, we think the soft is faster. But I'm not sure the pace on the soft was that much better than the medium at high fuel. If the result finishes like this, Red Bull's plus 25 points, Mercedes 14 points. Piastri's now 4 seconds behind his teammate. So, yeah. Interesting points from Crofty there. Yeah, Russell's 5 seconds behind Hamilton, closing the gap to Hamilton. Hamilton's 3 behind Sainz, closing up to Sainz. He's 4/10 a lap faster is Russell than Hamilton last lap. Ted is so cheeky. Who do you think Ted's favorite F1 team is? I'll give you a hint. It's not Red Bull. 2 secs, Ted. Lewis's helmet this race is so damn good, honestly. Verstappen 8 seconds away from a gap to Norris, but Norris and Verstappen about the same lap time at this point. Ooh, Stroll has had a rear wing failure, and they've suggested to Alonso avoid curbs in case that's a problem. Mitchell, yeah, that's a very interesting point there. I mean, Verstappen is... Now he's holding that same gap to Norris. Alpine telling Ocon about Fernando's rear wing situation. Like, hey, can you go run into his rear wing and make it fall off? Piastri's race, like, relative to Norris, well, as far as I can tell, Norris and Piastri are on a two-stop. Meet hard. Hold on, here's what Bernie's got. Ah, Bernie has just clarified if you have any one of the penalties, including a 5-second penalty, if you retire and you do not serve that penalty, it could carry over to a grid penalty in the next race. I don't think that's a stupid rule. I think that rule makes sense. Yeah, that's why they want to bring Perez back out, to avoid a grid drop in Qatar. So back to the McLaren race. Norris and Piastri on a two-stop medium hard each. Piastri is on 4 laps older tire, and he does not appear to have as much pace as Norris on this stint. Norris is made up probably over 10 seconds relative to Piastri on the stint. For some reason, Norris is faster. So that's their goal. But I think... So they've just told Russell, if you, assuming this is the best pace you can do and you don't have any more degradation than we think you're going to have, your race, you will be racing the McLarens at the end. Maybe Piastri is trying to one-stop it, but he's still got to do 20 more laps on this hard. So they basically told Russell, it's like, if you can push anymore without burning up the tires, do it. Otherwise, we're going to be under threat from Norris or Piastri at the end of the race. Good stop for the Ferrari. And Leclerc and Hamilton have both pit, and Gasly as well. So now let's check the gap between... Hamilton is out 20 seconds behind Russell. Are they going to stop Sainz next lap? Sainz could be in trouble. Hamilton is pushing like fuck. Can Hamilton get Sainz? Piastri's in. He's definitely not one-stopping. Good stop for Piastri. Come on, mate. Not terrible. Decent. 2.6. Good one. Piastri out on hards. Piastri has to overtake Russell now. Yes. Norris will need to cover. Yeah, Norris has 1 lap to respond. Piastri's going to have a mother effer of an outlap as well. Sainz is fucked now, I think. I think they've left Sainz out to rot. Sainz was behind Leclerc. I don't know what the gap was. I can't see it. Sainz says he could do 3 or 4 more laps, but if you do 22-second stop, he comes out at plus 51. Sainz comes out behind Hamilton at this point. Sainz loses out to Hamilton if he stops now. Maybe Sainz on a soft for a shorter stint at the end. It's possible. Russell passed Norris. Norris is going to get Russell easy. I guess we've been undercut, says Sainz. Are we dead already? Let's see. Verstappen's got a free stop to Sainz. A pit stop is 23 seconds. Should be. George about to say he turned in on me. Norris right up his gearbox right now. Oh, he's about to have his lunch. Nom 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 nom. Easy. But that's Russell. If Russell fights him too much, he's gonna lose out even worse. He's got nearly a second on him after just overtaking him. Sainz is now boxing 9:31. Sainz will come out behind Hamilton. So Sainz he's been lost to Hamilton for a while, but he should come out just ahead of Alonso. He might be able to chase down Hamilton by the end. We'll see. I'm not exactly sure if there's anything wrong with Norris's lap time. Could Russell pivot and do softs? I'm not sure. I lost the tire sets. Is Leclerc going to catch Russell? It's possible. 15 laps left, yeah. Piastri 2.5 seconds behind Russell. Perez is about to go out. Serve the penalty. Easy. I mean, Russell's tires, are they going to fall off? Defined fall off, because he's doing 39s right now. He's about 2 seconds a lap slower than everybody around him. So, I mean, Piastri will get him in a lap or two. Leclerc, a lap or two after that. Hamilton, a lap or two after that. And there's 15 to go. So, Prathamesh asks, can you explain what track evolution is? Track evolution is simply the overall lap times of a circuit on a given tire of a different given age and compound and condition getting faster. So if the overall lap time of the circuit on the same tire compound and everything else is getting faster and faster, the track is said to be evolving, and that's a product of temperature, rubber on the track, or cleanliness of the track in terms of the tires scrubbing dirt off of the track. Track evolution, for example, in qualifying here is over 1 second. So that's what we mean by track evolution. The track is getting faster. So Perez is out. They can't refuel him. I'm fairly certain they cannot change fluid levels. Perez is starting free practice 4. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Imagine Perez causes a safety car. That would be out of control. So Piastri on Russell now. Is Russell going to get his elbows out for a little bit? Mostly parked with the 199 super chat. Thank you for that. Which team has the best catering? I think I never got to experience it, but I think Russell's keeping his elbows out. Russell knows he's kind of like, if I can hold these guys up. Russell playing some chess here. Is Hamilton burning up his rears? He's still doing 37 ones. Oh, go on, lad. Piastri done. Through on Russell. Best catering is probably Honda trackside catering when they had Honda trackside. Red Bull catering was spectacular as well. The Austrians tend to put quite a bit of salt on everything. So if you ever sat down to have a pasta and you went to salt it before trying it, it was always a mistake. So Piastri is now 10 seconds behind Norris. I think that's done. The only other people in question are Leclerc should get Russell in 2 laps tops. We've got 12 to go. Easy. Hamilton 37s. Russell's last lap of 38. Russell's got pace in there if he wants it. He's got 17 lap old hards. He's got 12 laps to go on it. Perez retired. If Lawson's not driving a car next year, I'm going to be really sad. What do we think? Leclerc gets him this lap easy. Perez double DNF. If Verstappen a half a second a lap faster than Norris at this point, Lawson points today. It looks like the cars ahead of him are quite a bit faster. I think he's P11 unless something happens. Let's see what Hamilton's radio messages are. Lewis's updates have just been gaps to the people around him. Did you see the radio message? So Lucy, if we manage the tires just a little bit when those temps come down, the grip will come back to you. It shouldn't cost us too much. It meant Lewis. Leclerc not having the easiest time. Russell's doing a pretty good job of not losing too much time. Russell's only messages have been gap behind. Piastri says if there's a safety car, I would lose 3 positions to people on... You would lose out to Hamilton, Leclerc, and Russell. Russell on 20 lap old hards, and Leclerc and Hamilton on 10 lap old hards. I don't think Leclerc or Hamilton would pit. Russell would lose 3 or 4 positions as well. Yeah, Sainz as well. It'd be plus 10, so he'd be 43. So he'd come out 3 or 4 seconds behind Sainz. He could probably get Sainz, but Sainz will have... I mean, the McLaren's pace is quite a bit better. And it'll be 2 compounds different. Go on, Leclerc. Side by side still. Go on, lads. Not bad. That was exciting. For about 2 seconds. Yes, you're going to lose to Leclerc. Leclerc's 0.7 of a second lap slower fighting Russell there. I'm not really sure on Leclerc's pace in clean air at this point. Hamilton's 1.2 seconds a lap faster than Russell defending that lap, so let's wait and see. Leclerc was faster than Piastri before he had to battle George. Russell should give way to Lewis, but it's only 8 laps left. Do you think George can be like 6 cars wide? Hamilton shouldn't have any trouble coming through. Yeah, I'm not sure why Oscar's so much slower. Manufacturers points Ferrari versus Mercedes. At this finishing position, Mercedes 307, Ferrari 283. They will score the same amount of points if they finish 18 apiece right now. Mercedes is 289 versus Ferrari's 265 currently before this race concludes. Shouldn't Max have won the championship already? No. Tiffany, it's looking like it is a Qatar. Now, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, at this rate, why isn't he not won yet? We're on race 17. Well, we were technically race 16 because I think if we had had Imola, it'd be done. Hamilton's 6/10 behind Russell at this point, correct? Oh, big lockup from Lewis there. You don't want to be doing that too much. My first F1 season was 21. I thought everything went to the last race. And then you also thought something controversial happened every year. Bono's saying, give each other room. Russell's engineer telling him not to lose too much time as well. He's like, be smart. .2 Piastri to Leclerc. No further investigation for Leclerc leaving the track. I guess they checked that and found that everything was good. Sainz 0.8 to Hamilton. So if Sainz puts the pressure on Hamilton, that could mess him up. Sainz has 4-lap newer tires, and he should be a little bit faster. Fastest laps. Let's see. But I mean, this is going to make it more difficult for Hamilton to get through. I mean, if they are worried about the championship fight versus Ferrari, which is what they should be worried about, they should let Hamilton through. But it's also 6 laps to go. Does Russell race for his result, or does Russell race for the team result? Looking at the drivers, Russell is in P7, Hamilton is in P3. P2 or P3 in the Drivers' Championship doesn't make any difference. I think Mercedes holding the gap to Ferrari is more important than the constructors. Hamilton saying we're going to lose both these positions, and then parentheses he said, if Russell doesn't get the fuck out of the way, then hold up Sainz for me. Cheers, mate. George races for his results? Yeah. I don't blame him, but the team needs to be looking at, it's the team's job to manage this. Sainz has got Hamilton under pressure. Hamilton's got Russell under pressure. Leclerc keeps P4. Yeah, Leclerc's not getting Piastri. Podiums, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri. Easy. Russell has been told. But interesting though, Russell said, think about Sainz last week. Think about what happened. You guys have the DRS train. But I think they should let Hamilton through and let Hamilton pull him on the DRS. It's the exact same thing. Let Hamilton through, but Hamilton is going to run away. Hamilton has 10 lap newer tires. His outright pace should be better. I think they knew the one stop didn't work. He binned it last week, so yeah, Russell's done. It's an interesting one though. That is really an interesting one of 4D chess, and I think Russell's done. Russell's cooked. But I think Russell was holding the pace up enough that Hamilton was vulnerable, despite he didn't have traction. So, right, Bono's gone back to Hamilton saying, make sure that you're giving George DRS. So George needs to park it a little bit, back him up. Russell has terrible traction. Ferrari's got DRS on Russell. Yeah, he's done. The traction was certainly the factor. Mercedes DRS is also quite weak as well. But like, if Sainz comes through now and gets Hamilton as well, surely it doesn't matter what they did. No? I'm not really sure about that. That's an interesting conversation, and I don't know what the right answer is. Sky Anthony Davidson suggesting that they should have left Russell in front, give him the DRS to Hamilton. Hamilton had better tires, and good traction. I said gooder. Huh. I think so too. I think Sainz is going to get Lewis. Shout out Terry's. I'm going to be at Terry Black's in Austin. Is anybody going to be in Austin? Dude, Olivier, thank you for this super chat. 2,000 Japanese yen. No questions. Just thank you for sharing your knowledge and insights and making F1 even more awesome. I really appreciate, and I'm glad you feel that way. I love coming to the stream and talking about this stuff and having conversations with you guys. And I know I'm not right all the time, and I do my best to put my hand up and make it clear when I don't know something, but I do appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Sainz, 1 second. This could be tough. This could be tough for Sainz. I think Sainz might not have this one done. What's our gap? Sainz 0.8. Realistically, Sainz shouldn't be in this position anyway because he shouldn't have been undercut by them. 0.9. Sainz will have DRS. He'll get a couple tenths of advantage here, and then he'll have to follow through the S's. Yeah, he should be ahead of Lewis, if not more. And they probably would have let the Mercedes race to the end, honestly. Because Alonso's not a threat to any of them. I would have preferred that. Max currently has the fastest lap on hard. He's got a 134. Nobody's going to get that unless they box for a soft. And there's nobody in the top 10 that has a pit gap. Yeah, Alfa Romeo actually, or AlphaTauri actually dog slow today. I'm still honestly so bummed out that Honda left F1 and now Red Bull have to do their own power unit. Anybody else? Sainz is still a second off Hamilton. I don't think there's anything going on. The deal with Red Bull was unsustainable for Honda? I don't know. Honda has horrible timing. Every time their team is about to be amazing, they back out. Constructors' Championship for Red Bull is done. Max wins and Red Bull take the Constructors. I'm exhausted, so I'm not super duper enthusiastic. Not a bad race, though. Norris, podium. When did we think we would see... You go rewind to the start of the season. Did you ever think we were going to see two McLarens on the podium? Versatility, yeah. Max takes the Constructors. Mathematically, does Max have the Constructors on his own yet? 400 points. Max has 95 more points in the Constructors' Championship than Mercedes does. 2023 Formula One Constructors Champions, Red Bull Racing. And Honda's 75th birthday today since becoming incorporated. Good comms there, Tom. Not bad. So before you guys start to jet off, hang tight for 30 seconds. Here's what we're going to do today. And possibly tomorrow. I think we might do a race analysis stream. Otherwise, I'm just doing a race analysis video tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm not sure. Also, if you have not checked out the Engine Braking podcast on YouTube or Spotify or everything else, that is my F1 podcast with Engine Mode 11. If you haven't subscribed to that, you should definitely do that because we do podcasts every Monday or Tuesday after the race. So the best way to find that is to go to Engine Braking Podcast, subscribe to the channel, and keep an eye on the live streams. There is the Engine Braking Podcast. If you're not following, it's It's a much more lighthearted take on Formula One. It's not as serious, but it definitely do interject a lot of techie stuff. But it's me and Engine Mode 11. And then the next thing is, if you're interested in Formula One data analysis, I've got something I shared yesterday. And if you're not a member, it's fine, because there is an article, yesterday's entire qualifying session in its entirety, and also it's a lot of detail in that I put a lot of time into, and I wanted to share that one with everybody. So members get those every qualifying and every race, and I even do FP2 analysis when I can. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this Japanese Grand Prix race watch along. And if you guys want to hang out for a couple seconds, I'll answer a couple of questions, because I know I try to make sure that everything's on topic during the race if I'm replying to stuff. But after the race, yeah. So that's an interesting question. Tiffany says, at this rate, can we make Max Constructors team? Might as well. Medium Randell says, can you cover more different series in the future? My honest answer to that is I don't have time to do what I want with Formula One. So I'm already struggling to keep up with Formula One and do it to a level that I'm happy that I'm offering you guys the most value. I will actually be doing a video in the very near future about GT World Challenge and sports car racing, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys quite a bit. And yes, Joao Jeanette, I saw him at Goodwood Revival the other week and got to hang out with him for a couple days, and that was a pleasure. I'm not entirely sure that we can have him on the podcast. He will have to get approval for that, as he is currently employed in Formula One again. So as he works for a team, I think he has to get approval, but I will do our best to get him involved. Unfortunately, I think he will have to be, if so, very careful about what he speaks of. Aman asks an interesting question. If they get rid of tire blankets, will the undercut become possible? It depends entirely, because you have degradation and everything else. Yeah. Dude, Piastri, let's go. Oh, Leroy's back at the track. WEC content would be nice. I would also love to cover WEC. The problem is I just don't have enough time to do it properly. Like, we could do watch-alongs and hang out and learn about it together, but at this rate, doing 24 race watch-alongs a year is quite a bit for me. I don't want to spend 24 weekends a year on F1 flat out, because if I was doing that, I would still rather be Max's performance or race engineer at the track. As much as I love doing this, it's like if I'm gonna do every single race, you know, I would potentially rather be at the track. Now that IndyCar's done, you should get Gavin on the pod. Brenton, that is an absolutely spectacular idea, and I've been meaning to catch up with Gavin Ward. If anybody's wondering, Gavin Ward is he head of Aero or head of performance at McLaren Aeros? Anyway, he's performance engineer in F1, control systems engineer in F1, aerodynamicist in Formula One. He went to Penske as a race engineer, and now he's at McLaren. Can you have Horner on the podcast? Yeah. So, Cyan also says some engineering videos on what could be interesting, especially. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. And Brenton, 100%. 100%. Can you have Horner on the podcast? You know what? I did run into Christian the other day, and I like Christian, but I just don't think he has any interest in being on our podcast, and that's okay. I think Blake's just choosing Red Bull catering over the stream. Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, guys, I'm gonna do this. It's 7:45 in the morning. My cats are outside destroying the carpet. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go feed my cats. And I'm gonna try and get some breakfast and maybe take a nap and go for a cycle this afternoon. And then I'm gonna get cracking and work on this race analysis report. As soon as the data is done, I might even have the race analysis report done before. Ooh, is it gonna be done before lunch? If not, I'll have Tiffany 2:45 a.m. No, Dana, great to see you. Neil as well. Alexandra, dude, enjoy the catnap. I appreciate that. And if anybody's wondering, Buy Me a Coffee members will have full access to the report, and it should be out early this evening, probably in the next 6 or 7 hours. I got a lot of work to do, but I know that you guys provide a lot of support on that, and I hope you guys get enough value out of that. So I thank you guys for your support. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the engine braking podcast. I'm gonna go have some beans on toast. What are we saying about that? You guys, thank you, everyone. There was hundreds of you that got up this morning to hang out with us. I appreciate you. I will see you all soon, and I hope you have a great night, a great morning, and we'll catch you soon.